At what point did I ever sign up to be bullied about my wrinkles on my forehead? Yes guys, welcome back to another video. Welcome to the George Benson Football Channel for 4 reasons why Chelsea Football Club will win the Premier League this season. You guys know me, I'm ever one for a bold statement, and I know that my last bold statement didn't actually go down very well because it ended up just being the total opposite of what actually was going to happen in real life. Erling Haaland did not sign for Chelsea. I will eat a slice of humble pie and say I got that one wrong, but it was all with good intentions. Today, I actually really believe that Chelsea are going to win the Premier League. As I'm recording this video, it's about 4 o'clock in the afternoon where I am, which is the equivalent of 9 in the morning back in London and in Europe. So, at the moment of me recording this video, right this very second, Chelsea are most likely finalising the deal to bring Romelu Lukaku to Chelsea. So, that is going to be reason number 1. We're going to get into that in a second, but if you didn't see today's earlier Chelsea FC news video, you should definitely go and check it out. And GBFC too. I made a video talking about the Lionel Messi situation, where I think he's going to go, what I think's gone wrong. You guys should go and check it out. Link to the second channel in the description. However, let's get back onto the topic, and that is Chelsea as Premier League champions for the 2021-2022 season. At this moment in time, with the current goings-on in the transfer market, I want to make this the video where I talk about the reasons why it will be Chelsea that will be better than everybody else, as opposed to it being, well, City didn't get Kane, or City didn't do this, United haven't done that. I want this to just be all about Chelsea, because I honestly believe that regardless of the signings that are made by other clubs, the investments that are currently being made in this Chelsea team, and we're currently only halfway through the transfer window, at least in Chelsea's case, because Lukaku is pretty much done, and he is reason number 1. Last season, you look at how many chances Chelsea Football Club created, it's absolutely outrageous that we didn't get more points, didn't win more games, and didn't score more goals. I would say that it is one of the only criticisms I have about what Thomas Tuchel has done during his time at Chelsea, but it's never just about how many goals you score, it's about the trophies and the medals that you pick up at the end of the season. Romelu Lukaku, I think, is going to be a player who can come in and solve so many different issues for Chelsea. Issues with link-up play, issues with getting the creative players like Mason Mount, Christian Pulisic, Hudson-Odoi, Ziyech, getting these guys into better shooting positions. You can also include Timo Werner in that one as well. However, I do think it will be a few weeks before we see the Thomas Tuchel side that best utilises Lukaku and the energy of Timo Werner. I think there'll definitely be times where we see Timo Werner out on the wing, or potentially front alongside Romelu Lukaku, in a similar vein to what we saw with Lautaro Martinez at Inter Milan. I think Lukaku in himself is going to solve the goal-scoring issue that Chelsea had last season, whether that was Werner being relied on too heavily, whether that was Havertz not being available at his absolute best in terms of fitness until the very end of the season, Jorginho as the penalty taker, whatever it may be. I say give Romelu Lukaku the penalties this year as well. Whether Jorginho's in the starting 11 or not, I know that there are still some crazy people out there who think that the fact Jorginho scores penalties is enough to stat pad him into the team, regardless of whether you like what he does or not. I think after the Euros, that isn't a question anymore. I think Jorginho has really come into his own under both Roberto Mancini for Italy and Thomas Tuchel for Chelsea. However, if you take away the goals from the penalties away, I still don't think it changes too much about the quality of Jorginho. So therefore, you give Romelu Lukaku the penalties, and we can stat pad him, which as a striker is the best way to build confidence. And then next thing you know, he's bagging in multiple goals per game from open play as well. I think Romelu Lukaku is an elite, world-class signing for Chelsea. I've gone on about it a lot here so far on GBFC, and when the announcements are made, we will talk about just how great Lukaku is going to be again. Point number 2, and I've kind of already alluded to it, but it's Thomas Tuchel. The man has won German Manager of the Year, takes charge of Chelsea for 5 months, or not even 5 months, and wins them the Champions League, guiding them also, however stuttering it may have been, to a finish in the Premier League top 4, securing Champions League football again, regardless of whether we won the final. I think Thomas Tuchel did an absolutely fantastic job during his time at Chelsea so far, and I think the fact that the board have backed him with the signing of Romelu Lukaku is also proof that Thomas Tuchel is the man that Chelsea Football Club see to actually win a lot of trophies. I think this year, there's absolutely no doubt in my mind that the Lukaku signing, the potential Jules Koundé signing, anybody else you bring in the midfield, all of the investments that are being made at Chelsea Football Club this summer are signings to back the manager. Thomas Tuchel has come in with a very specific style of the way that Chelsea are going to play. Total difference to that of Frank Lampard. Yes, we still press, but there's a total change of formation and various other things too. And I think what Tuchel did, particularly in the Champions League, to go through the whole competition only conceding 4 goals, which is, again, 4 reasons why, but we're going to talk about that with the back line a little later in this video, little hint for the future. But I think Thomas Tuchel, the job that he did is a great sign that as long as obviously the players remain on side, it could be one of the issues Chelsea have this season. I'll go into that in a totally different video tomorrow. But I think Thomas Tuchel as our manager, tactical genius, I think the pressure he puts on the players is massive. And I think the fact we were so far away in the Premier League last season means that there won't be a single issue with making sure these Chelsea players are hungry, despite winning the Champions League, to go all out and win the Premier League this year. Point number 3, and I wanted to try and narrow it down to a couple of important players. We've already talked about Lukaku, but I think the Lukaku thing is more symbolic to the support that is being given to this team and the manager, as well as just the brilliance of what Lukaku's going to do. The 2 players that I have single-handedly pinpointed as the key to Chelsea winning the Premier League this season are Mason Mount and Kai Havertz, particularly Mason Mount x Kai Havertz, meaning together. I think in the Champions League final, that wonderful assist that we saw from Mason Mount to slide in Kai Havertz for Chelsea's famous goal, I think it's something we're going to see more and more this season. What I really love about when both Mason Mount and Kai Havertz are on the pitch for Chelsea is that although they're both seen as 2 of Chelsea's most important and key players to actually go forward, get chances in on goal, create opportunities, I love how with Kai Havertz being more of like a silky gliding kind of player who you very rarely see tear up, tear down, tear up, tear down in a repetitive way, that allows Mason Mount to be that tenacious kind of player. And I think that the both of them together, they juxtapose each other so well, yet also offer the same qualities that you need from creative players, such as the ability to turn on the shoulder, the ability to dribble past players. I think both of them have that in abundance, but at the same time, the key thing is that both of these guys, I believe, when they're playing to their absolute maximum and the team is working around them, both players are capable of playing 90 minutes twice a week. And I think that is the exciting thing about where this Chelsea team can go. Of course, we're going to try and retain the Champions League, which can sometimes leave you with tricky fixtures after a Champions League game week in the Premier League. Sometimes you might have to risk or try and drop some of your key players. And last season, when key players were rested, Chelsea didn't look as though they had any kind of alternative plan. Now that Kai Havertz has the confidence from that Champions League winning goal and the fitness from a full COVID recovery and everything else, I think these 2 players, wherever they playing in this Chelsea team, are going to be absolutely key together this season to win us more football matches. I think both have got goals in them, both have got assists in them. They're both silky quality players whose energy juxtaposes each other so perfectly well, all to the benefit of Chelsea Football Club. The final reason, the 4th reason, is the back line. Now, at the moment, it does look as though Kurt Zouma will still be leaving Chelsea and Jules Koundé is still the number 1 centre-back target to come in as his replacement. I believe that whether or not Zouma leaves and Koundé arrives or not, whether nothing happens defensively for Chelsea, I believe this back line is absolutely more than good enough to win the Premier League. I think if you look back on some of the most successful Chelsea teams in history, you remember the 2004-2005, where we conceded the lowest number of Premier League goals in history, something that I think will never ever be replicated again, or if it is, it's going to take something incredibly special, because that is one of the most underrated Premier League achievements there is. Going unbeaten is also very good. Well done to you, Arsenal. But to concede that few goals is outrageous. But we conceded 4, which is another record on the way to the Champions League victory. And as much as I don't think we're only going to concede 4 goals in 38 Premier League games, that would be absolutely off into another flipping stratosphere. But I do believe that the Chelsea back line, whether players come in or they don't come in, is more than good enough, experienced enough and in form to A, get a good start to the season, B, with Thomas Tuchel, who's point number two's tactical nuance and the way that he implements different strategies game by game depending on the style of our opponent, I think with the experience in that back line, as well as the youthful quality we have as well with the likes of Reece James, Christensen, who I know he's not really youth product anymore, but he's still got that kind of youthful exuberance now from what he was doing with Denmark in the Euros too. I think that everything is lined up absolutely brilliantly for Chelsea to run at the Premier League title this season. I obviously believe we're going to win it because of the signings we've made and the fact I'm a Chelsea fan and I back us to the flipping hills. But I would love to know your 4 key reasons why Chelsea will at least challenge for the Premier League title this season down in the comments below. As I said at the beginning, if you're not yet subscribed to GBFC, make sure you do so. There's also a link to GBFC 2 in the description where I've uploaded a new video talking about Lionel Messi. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. We're the champions of Europe. Come on, you Blues. See you all tomorrow.